Hey guys, what's up? We are back with another video today, and today we are doing our Notre Dame Stanford prediction. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below if you're a Notre Dame fan, or even if you're a Stanford fan. We have Notre Dame predictions out here every week. Like this video if you enjoy it. Comment your thoughts and opinions down below as well. Let me know what your score prediction is, what your thoughts are. As college football, man, it is ramped up, and we got a heck of a college football week last week, a heck of a college football week this coming week. With games like Oregon and Ohio State, LSU, Ole Miss. Like, there are games all across the slate. It's going to be a fun weekend, including this game, home game against the Stanford Cardinals coming to town, a rivalry of sorts. So definitely an interesting matchup. So make sure you hit that subscribe button down below. Help me reach my goal of 1,600 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button down below. Thank you guys all for your help. So let's get into today's video. So we're going to start with the Cardinals. So when it comes to this team, second year under Troy Taylor, as he came from Sacramento State. The only reason why I mentioned that is Sacramento State may join the Pac-12. I know that's kind of off of this video topic, but kind of an interesting thing. I would like to see Sacramento State join the Big 12. Big FCS fan here. Any FCS team trying to move it up, I'd like to see. But when you're looking at the Stanford team, when you're looking at their last week performance against Virginia Tech, mind you, I did not watch this game live. I did see some clips of it, but this game, you didn't look good. You didn't look good at all. You had Justin Lamson at quarterback. I'm sorry if I'm saying that last name wrong. He is the transfer from Syracuse, but a native of Colorado, or a native of California. El Dorado Hills was where he was from. So native of the area, but did transfer in. Did not play well, was 13 of 24, 103 yards. Not a lot of distance on a lot of those throws. The run game was stifled with Micah Ford. Bill, don't get me wrong. Micah Ford has had himself a pretty good season this year so far, with Ford having a good game, especially against Clemson. That was probably his best game. I do need to mention, I don't know what's going on with Ashton Davis. I have not heard reports. I'm not in the beat when it comes to Stanford. So, and honestly, based on how Troy Taylor played it with Virginia Tech, I expect a game time decision or a game time announcement with Daniels. So I don't think that we'll be hearing anything about that situation until it comes closer to game time. But I'm going to take the assumption that he isn't going to play. But if he does, I don't think it changes very much for this team. Daniels is a much more dynamic quarterback, has a little bit more running ability. Passing wise, they're about equal in my opinion. I think Daniels is a little bit better, but I also haven't seen like a ton of Lamson. Hasn't played much ever, so played decently but struggled a lot. This Syracuse team, really outside of a good win against the Stanford team, outside of a good win against Syracuse, they really haven't had a good season. And even in the Syracuse games, Daniels threw 2 picks. The rushing attack was good. You did have Daniels with 45 yards. Overall, you had 173. The passing attack really struggled, but you also had a pick 6. That helped as well to be able to secure the win. And you have a couple issues there. So really, I think that the biggest thing when looking at this game from a Stanford perspective is that you really got to focus on the rushing attack here. Notre Dame had some struggles against Northern Illinois and even had some struggles against Louisville. Not as much, but still there are some struggles there. I'm kind of concerned, especially with the injuries that are starting to pile up. You had Boubacar Trejo, who got injured, out for the season. That update came as of today. That is a player. That's another loss. It's not that he wasn't even a starter, but then became one with the injury. You're gonna have continual issues with this team. That injuries are starting to pile up a little bit, so I'm a bit concerned about that. But when you're looking at it, at the end of the day, Notre Dame is in a good position here. Elik Ayomanor, Io Manor is by far and away the best wide receiver that Stanford has. There's no doubt about it. Stanford relies on Io Manor to be able to get open, to be able to find open routes throughout it. Last game he had 9 targets but only 3 receptions. A difficult game there where not much separation going on. Expect Benjamin Morrison to follow him around. So now let's take it from a Notre Dame perspective. Notre Dame coming off of a bye week, so did not play at all. So that is definitely kind of an interesting take when it comes to this game and stuff like that. Coming off of bye week, which I think helps you, but I'm not 100%. I'm kind of worried about it a little bit. Riley Leonard has looked shaky. There's no doubt about that. He didn't even really look great in the 66-7 blowout of Purdue. But here's the one thing, though. When it comes to this team, when it comes to how they're doing, the thing that I am most excited about, I think, when it comes to Notre Dame is you got to give the ball to Jeremiah Love. There's no doubt about it. Jeremiah Love, one of the better running backs in the entire country, played well both in the Stanford game, or not in the Stanford game, in the Purdue game, and even had some rushing yards against Louisville, but had some struggles. So we're going to get into 3 keys for the game for the Irish. So 3 keys of the game for the Irish. Number 1, no stupid turnovers. You had gave up 2 short fields to Louisville. They got touchdowns on both of them. You would have liked to see the defense stop that, but they weren't able to. So you had those issues there. And then when it came to after that, you had that goes into number 2. Offensively, you got to get started early and you got to keep it going early. The scripted drive that got you a touchdown the first drive of the game against Louisville, I like that. I think that honestly, the first quarter of this game is probably going to go heavily in Notre Dame's favor because I think coming off the bye week, the script should be pretty good. I think that the scripting with Denbrock and stuff like that's going to be pretty good. But at the end of the day, Notre Dame has to focus on being able to control the ball, being able to run the ball. And the third key of the game, this isn't really as much of a key as much of it's I want this to happen, is you got to have something from Riley Leonard. You really got to have something. He's really struggled. He has not looked great. There's just not much throwing ability here with Leonard. And if you want any shot at winning games later on in the season, you're going to have to get something from Riley Leonard. The defense has looked strong, but injuries are starting to pile up. A little bit concerned about that. But defensively, I think Notre Dame is in a good position. Whether it's Lamson or Daniels in the quarterback spot, I just don't see Stanford being able to put many of the points on the board. It's a 23-point line in Notre Dame's favor, obviously. I'm kind of intrigued by this one. I think that, honestly, at the end of the day, I'm going to put this one at 31-7. I think is the score. 31-7 is my prediction. So it is going to put you pretty darn close to that 23-point spread. Notre Dame, I would take them with that spread, but it's going to be darn close with that spread. It could be 31-10. I don't know how much I trust this team, but I do think Notre Dame will slow them down. As long as you don't have many turnovers giving up points. If you didn't have turnovers and gave up short fields on the fumbled kickoff and the interception, you would have been perfectly fine. You would have given up 10 points that game. Obviously, Louisville could have had points in those 2 drives, or they could have gotten more points later on. But obviously, I think that's what you're looking at is about that. So that's going to wrap it up for today's video. Hit the 2 videos down below and the subscribe button up here. And as always, hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.